Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's media briefing. We have 5 speakers scheduled to give you an update on the latest information on Valley Fire situation and our recovery in Lake County. My name is Mireya Turner. I'm a Public Information Officer for the Lake County Office of Emergency Services. After our 5 speakers present their information, we will have additional people available for a question and answer period. Today's speakers are Rob Brown, Supervisor for District 5, Mike Smith, the Battalion Chief and Information Officer from the CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3, Norm Taylor, our Lieutenant with the Sheriff's Department, Dr. Karen Tate, our County Health Officer, and Moke Simon, our Tribal Chair with Middletown Rancheria. For our question and answer period, we have Brock Falkenberg from the Lake County Office of Education, Brittany McCanney, our Public Information Officer with Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, Matt Perry from the County Administrative Office, Nehemiah White with Animal Care and Control, and our representative from Cal OES, Ryan Arba. We'll go ahead and get started with Rob Brown, Supervisor, District 5. Thank you.
Thank you. And today you'll hear about a recovery effort. There are several people here that will be giving information about a recovery and the plan for rebuild. I'd like to announce that tonight at 6 o'clock at the Middletown High School football field will be a community meeting designed to get information out to residents, homeowners, and contractors on what the process will look like for the rebuild of Cobb Mountain, Anderson Springs, Middletown, and Hidden Valley. Currently, we're working on rehousing or housing and repopulation for residents that need that housing. There are several opportunities available for us currently. As you've heard, Konocti Harbor Resort and Spa has graciously made available 48 rooms, and we're working on putting people in those, and there are several more that can be available with some minimal upgrades if needed. We've worked with the owner of the Hoburgs Resort that was devastated to use their property to locate up to 350 RV sites for people that want to park their RVs there, as well as potentially some FEMA housing trailer type situation. These are just 2 of the many areas that we're looking at as far as housing opportunities. We will be making sure and guaranteeing that those that need housing will have it. We're working on gathering information, and we're encouraging people to call the hotline for housing, which is area code 707-262-1090. We are also asking and encouraging people that need housing and need FEMA assistance to get registered with FEMA. There's not much that FEMA can do unless those people are registered, and in order to register with that, the number is 1-800-621-3362. 1-800-621-FEMA. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Brown will have to leave shortly to manage the community meeting that's happening today. So our chair of the Board of Supervisors, Anthony Farrington, will remain for a question and answer period. Next, we'll move to Mike Smith. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The Valley Fire is held at 76,067 acres now for a period of over 3 days. Containment percentage has risen to 85%. A massive demobilization is in process now of those resources who have responded across the state and across the western United States to assist in this effort. Today there are just over 2,800 firefighters on the fire lines, a number that has fallen from 4,400 at the peak of this incident. Many of those firefighters are still constructing and reinforcing fire lines, but the vast majority of them are on the interior perimeter of the fire, dealing with hot spots and smokes that are visible to residents and travelers through the area. As additional firefighters leave over the next coming days or the next few days, repopulation efforts will continue, and I'd just like to stress that there will still be firefighters on scene in the weeks ahead. to ensure that hot spots are suppressed and nuisance smoke is mitigated. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now receive an update from our Sheriff's Department by Lieutenant Norm Taylor.
Good afternoon. The Sheriff's Department continues to provide safety and security for the areas affected by the wildland fires. We have mutual aid officers from around our region actively patrolling 24 hours a day. This includes the areas of Middletown and all the communities of Cobb. We continue to respond to welfare checks and checks for people's residence. In the days to come, following the repopulation of the remainder of Cobb, we will continue to have a strong presence in all the areas affected by the fires, provide safety, security, and answer any questions we can for citizens returning to their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. We now have Dr. Karen Tate, our County Health Officer.
Thank you and good afternoon. My message today is that from a healthcare system perspective, things are starting to return to normal. The Middletown Family Health Center is open, and more recently, the Middletown Pharmacy and the Coyote Valley Pharmacy also reopened. We do continue to use the Marin County Medical Reserve Corps, having a presence at the Local Assistance Center and at the Twin Pine Casino Shelter. We are seeing people who continue having to try to stabilize medical conditions for which their treatment lapsed for a period of time, and they are still recovering from injuries associated with the fire. We will be evaluating today how much longer to keep the Medical Reserve Corps here as a presence as people are able to start returning to their normal doctor's offices. They will stay as long as we need. Most likely they'll be here at least a few more days. We also have counselors on duty during the day at the Local Assistance Center and at the Twin Pine Shelter. I would like to encourage people to start reconnecting with their medical offices and with their pharmacies for continuation of their care. We're conducting vaccination activities for people who were displaced from their homes, and we're doing that in the Local Assistance Center and in the shelters. And really for everybody in the county, I would like to encourage everyone to take good care of themselves and to do good preventive health care at this time. People do tend to become ill much more easily and more frequently after major life stresses. And I think really everybody in the county has experienced a significant amount of stress coming through this event. And finally, a word on the debris cleanup from a health perspective. Another reminder, please don't sift through the ash. And if you are in an area where the ash is going to be disturbed, to wear a protective mask. We've also heard that there are enough hot spots out there that people are experiencing some burns simply by trying to dig through the ash. So that's a word of caution that things have not completely cooled down. And for those who are trying to remove debris from their properties and bring it to the landfill will not accept that debris if it contains ash. It has to be tested and certified free of asbestos and other substances. So please do not bring it to the landfill. And I strongly encourage everybody who has to clean up their property from a burned structure to take advantage of the program that's being offered through the assistance of the state and the federal government. You can find information at the Local Assistance Center or by calling Environmental Health at 263-1164. Thank you.
Our final speaker today will be Moke Smith, Tribal Chair. Moke Simon, Tribal Chair, Middletown, Rancheria.
Thank you and hello. My name is Moke Simon, Tribal Chairman, Middletown Rancheria. I think it was covered. We do have the American Red Cross shelter set up there. It is functioning very well. As of yesterday, American Red Cross and OES got together and we have got shelter for pets, small pets, dogs, set up out there. We have a couple of different organizations that are doing that. So that is available for people that need that. The other thing is that I want to thank CAL FIRE. He did an excellent job. I also want to thank the Sheriff's Department for all their cooperation, all the county officials that have come to our table down in South County and helped us work through this process. It is the recovery phase. It's the most difficult part. To see your friends and family, known for years, sifting through ashes is a tough thing, but they do need to do it safely. And I know that at the Lions Club, at the American Red Cross shelter, you can get the gloves, the masks, the other cleanup stuff that you need to be safe when you're doing that. And then also make use of the mental health professionals that they have there, because we have been through a traumatic event and everyone's going to break down at one point or another. Moving forward, I know some good news. I know the Office of Education and schools are going to be opening on Monday. I don't want to steal your thunder, sir, but I think that's excellent to get our kids back together and help them move forward through this process. We will have the number for FEMA up on our main advertising board that we have out there. And we have 4 other things up there. We have the shelter. We have the LAC Center location up there. We also have the Lions Club where the food and clothing distribution is going. And we're encouraging constantly for people to get out, fill out the paperwork at the LAC Center, and also now the FEMA's on the ground to get that stuff filled out so they can get the help that they desperately need. In conclusion, thank you. We will rebuild this community. Will be an intricate part down on the South County. Everybody that's working together. There was another meeting that is going to happen tonight. So there's a meeting at 6 o'clock at the field about the rebuild. And then the Middletown Area Town Hall is having a meeting at the Senior Center outside. There's going to be a movie shown. They're also going to serve some ice cream and other stuff for the kids. So please, after the 6 o'clock meeting at the football field, please attend the math town hall meeting at the Senior Center. Once again, thank you. I couldn't be any prouder to be a resident of Lake County, and I know we're going to be fine, and we're going to be better once we rebuild. Thank you.
That concludes our scheduled speakers. We will now open it up for a question and answer period. If you could please raise your hand and start with your name and an agency if you are representing one. That would be very helpful. Yes, sir.
How many National Guard are here, and do you have the looting under control?
The question was how many National Guard are present, and do we have the looting under control?
Norm Taylor from Lake County Sheriff's Department. There's currently 49 military police from the National Guard working actively in the field right now. We have an additional 16 National Guard troops that are augmenting them by management and logistics. Additionally, in regard to local law enforcement, we have augmented our patrols, and we have special mutual aid that we've requested. So we have currently Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office and Oakland Police Department have sent contingents of officers up, and they are working 24 hours a day in the affected areas specifically. Currently, although we're making arrests and citations each day, it's clear that the message is getting out, and we're seeing fewer and fewer people in the affected area that don't belong.
Yeah, I live up on Cobb. I continue to hear shots being fired, and I see a lot of riffraff that don't belong up there, and I see the sheriff and highway patrol and many law enforcement agencies, but I don't know who belongs there and who don't.
You're right. That's a difficult part for us and the officers that are assisting us. That's why we ask until the area is open. If the remainder of the population will stay out of the area, we can more effectively keep those that don't belong out.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Next question, please. Are there any further questions? Yes, sir. Oh. One moment, we got a motorcycle. Okay. Opening up Cobb. Who would like to address that?
The question was, when are we going to open up Cobb? And I just want to reiterate a couple things. This is more than a fire. The Valley Fire is much, much more than a fire. And when you look at the scope of this incident, the enormity of this incident, what you're really dealing with is a disaster. And so that everyone understands, the fire responders are the ones who dictate at least the initial pace of the repopulation process. And what I mean by that is that firefighters on the ground, fire ground commanders, will report back to the incident base when they feel an area is safe from a fire perspective. And then once that happens, there's a lengthy check process that begins. Those meetings are ongoing. They happen each morning and are confirmed each afternoon. But we focus on the efforts of firefighters and we focus on the great work that PG&E has done. But there's much, much more than that. And it goes to the local propane companies and securing propane. It goes to environmental health. On the county health side, there are probably 15 or 20 different cooperators that have an interest in ensuring these places are safe and safe to return. Think about it in these terms. We have to rebuild 100 years of infrastructure in maybe 7 or 10 days, which includes removing damaged power poles, removing the lines that are twisted up in them, and in this case, removing trees that have been weakened and have fallen through the lines, and then trees that have weakened and could damage the roadways. So imagine having to replace all of the guardrail on Highway 175, let's say, for instance, between Middletown and Cobb. All of those things have to happen. You have to ensure that the water system is patent and that wastewater systems are patent. So there's a process that is designed, although lengthy, to ensure the safety of those residents when they return. And I just want to reiterate that those meetings are ongoing, and that as soon as it is considered safe by all of the different cooperators and stakeholders involved for people to return, that will happen immediately. And like I said, the scope of this is well beyond a fire. You know, Lake County has suffered some extremely damaging fires in just the last few months. I don't need to explain that to any of you who've been subject to that. But this incident isn't the Rocky Fire of last month, and it's not the Jerusalem fire that followed. This one, because it affected so many people and so many communities, is really a disaster in scope and not just a fire. So know that those discussions are ongoing, and as soon as everyone responsible for the public safety is comfortable with allowing people to go home, we will certainly communicate that and ensure that everyone gets there as soon as possible.
Sure. I'd like to add just one thing. What Chief Smith said is accurate about all of the different shareholders and cooperators that are involved. But the difference is, if they were to repopulate now and let people get up in there, the difference is the weeks that it would take, because people are up there, as a matter of days that it could happen if they have the ability to just go ahead and work freely on Highway 175, Bottle Rock Road, and then all the arterial areas. So having a little bit of patience is going to save weeks and even months if those people aren't up there and it's repopulated immediately.
Do we have a further question? Betsy?
Yes, I have a question. What is the status of cleaning up the hazardous materials to protect the watershed from stormwater damage?
The question was, what is the status of the cleanup to protect the watershed? We're working with California Recycle as well as Cali OES and FEMA to identify the priorities. Right now, we're encouraging people to not begin the cleanup on their own property, although we understand that's going to happen. It will be taken care of by the state and the federal government to do all this cleanup. However, even if somebody goes in and does cleanup on their own lot, that doesn't necessarily mean that they've beat the process and they're going to get to rebuild right away. There are a lot of things that we can't do anything until the entire Cobb Mountain, for example, until that's cleaned off and the trees are out of there. And some cases we're going to have to take inches of dirt out to get the toxic material out. And then there's going to be the long process of possibly even having to resurvey all of that up there to identify where property lines are, because the landmarks aren't there any longer. Trees and fences and those kinds of things are gone. And so until that's all done and the infrastructure is in, our goal is right now to do the cleanup, do the erosion control measures that need to be done, and it's already begun. Some of the trees that they're taking down, they're chipping them and using the chips for erosion control. So that's already occurring. That'll happen right away. We'll get people in their into housing safely in an area remote away from where the cleanup is going to go, so that won't impede the efforts of the cleanup. And then we can begin to button up everything that needs to be done before the rains come. In the meantime, people can begin the process of getting permits, building permits, working with engineers, architects, and do that kind of thing. And then once we're clear to make sure that there are no longer threat of rain and erosion and the type of conditions that won't allow us to work in there, then we'll allow people in there to get to work. It may be a while before we'll actually see footings dug, but we've got a lot of work to do before that.
Are there any further questions? I want to thank you all for joining us today for our media briefing, both here on site and our live Periscope viewers. We will continue to hold these media briefings every day until there is no longer a need. Thank you.